Hello, Internet. My name's Ash, and welcome to my first reading. Now, this is my first public reading that I'm doing for YouTube. It's called Running, written by Alborn. It's a short story, actually, but I'm not actually going to describe it right now because I want you guys to listen to the story. Or at least listen to my readings where some idiot like me tries to do a whole bunch of impressions about girls he can't even do voiceovers on. That's right, I'm horrible at impressions. But I try. I really do try. But that's not the main reason why I started this channel. I want to know what you guys like. I want to read your guys' stories. So just any story that you'd like me to read, just send me a message in my comments or send me a private message, and I'd be happy to read your stories for you. I'm up for any collaborations. I just a few things that I'm actually also interested into is baseball, snowboarding, and skiing. I do like reading your guys' stories. I also like to make music. Well, without further ado, I'm going to shut up and let's get started on the reading. Chapter 1 Running by Alborn. Read to you by Asher. There is one special day as fall nears its end. When the ponies of Ponyville come together, few ponies earn their livelihood from the bounty of the Whitetail Woods. But almost every pony participates in the running of the leaves. The race is the primary attraction, with a select group of racers competing for the fastest run. Yet, it is the much larger number of slower racers who are more important, contributing to the countless hoof falls to knocking the leaves off the trees, allowing them to safely lay dormant in the winter. Other ponies set up booths providing food and drinks for the runners, or simply come to cheer their fellow ponies. The running of the leaves is a celebration enjoyed by all. Well, almost all. Over in an isolated cottage near the Everfree Forest, two ponies who didn't care for the crowds chose to spend the morning in each other's company. Big Macintosh and Fluttershy sat in the living room, enjoying tea and the relative quiet. The chittering and squeaking of the Pegasus' animal friends was certainly better than the thundering of hooves. "I hope we're not making Discord jealous," Big Macintosh said.
"After the incident at the gala, I think he learned a lesson about having other friends. I'm sure he won't mind me sharing tea with a mutual friend. Isn't that right, Sir McBuckin?"
Big Macintosh snorted. "He's a professional friend in my book, even if he makes a good session of organs and arbitraries."
"I'm still surprised you're not racing,"
Fluttershy said.
"I'm sure Sugar Belle would love to see you run across the finish line, all lathered and breathing heavily."
Big Macintosh chuckled. "Racing's for other ponies. Let Applejack and her Pegasus friend have their fun. Me, I'll just enjoy the quiet." Fluttershy and Big Macintosh parted an hour later, after the racing and the festivities would have came to an end. The farm needed Big Macintosh's attention, and Fluttershy always checked on the animals in the Whitetail Woods after the forest was quiet again. Once Big Macintosh was on his way, Fluttershy proceeded at a leisurely trot toward the Whitetail Woods. Before she reached the forest, she spotted one of her raccoon friends running towards her at a rapid pace. The poor critter was panicking. He clutched to Fluttershy, his meaning hard to pick up, as he was nearly out of breath. Once she understood him, it was the Pegasus's turn to worry.
"A tree fell over? Your family is trapped in your den? Your mate is hurt? Oh my, oh my."
She planted a hoof firmly on the ground.
"I will get help. Come here."
Fluttershy picked up the raccoon in her forelegs and took it into the air. She flew, reaching speeds that rivaled Rainbow Dash, as she went in search for the strongest pony she knew.
"Big Macintosh."
Fluttershy called once she reached Sweet Apple Acres. Hearing no response, she flew through the orchard and then went to the farmhouse, but no pony was home.
Twilight!
She shouted. She knew the Alicorn's magical power would be strong enough to lift even the biggest tree. Fluttershy flew straight for the castle of Friendship. She formally found Twilight Sparkle outside, talking with a group of foals. The Alicorn still had twigs and leaves in her mane and tail from her own fun with the foals.
Fluttershy, what's wrong?
Twilight Sparkle asked.
A tree fell down in the Whitetail Woods and trapped Mr. Sharp-Ear's family and injured his mate.
She replied.
Can you come with me to save them? Of course, she turned to the foals. I'm sorry, but I need to help my friends.
The foals whined and muttered, but started to depart.
I'll teleport us to the edge of the Whitetail Woods.
Twilight Sparkle told Fluttershy.
Can you lead us after that?
Fluttershy spoke to the raccoon and nodded.
Okay, let's go.
With a pop, Twilight Sparkle, Fluttershy, and the raccoon reappeared at the edge of the Whitetail Woods. The smell of leaves and freshly distributed soil hung heavily in the air, following the work done by the running of the leaves. The raccoon pointed in the direction, and Fluttershy flew off. Soon they reached the fallen tree, a mighty oak, decades old. It now lay flattened on the ground. The broken wood of the stump revealed the rot previously hidden that caused the tree to fall when the ponies ran past it, shaking the ground. The raccoon chittered and pointed. Twilight Sparkle concentrated and slowly lifted the fallen tree with her magic. Fluttershy scooped the injured female raccoon. One head certainly broke from when the tree landed on it. Twilight Sparkle scanned the raccoon.
It looks like a clean break. I don't see any internal bleeding. You're one very lucky raccoon,
Fluttershy said to the hurt animal.
Let me spit your leg and then I'll take you to the veterinarian.
The male raccoon now had 2 kits around his leg, and they all watched with worry as Fluttershy tended to the female. Meanwhile, Twilight Sparkle was studying the fallen tree, making note who she needed to talk to in town to make sure no other trees presented a danger. Twilight Sparkle's ears perked as she heard some pony approaching. From the cadence of hoof falls, it was some pony running. As far as she remembered, even the slowest ponies finished the race more than an hour ago. She got up to warn the runner about the fallen tree. She watched the runner approach. The first thing she noticed was the runner's form. She had read all about running before participating in the first running of the leaves, and so she remembered what she read about the merchants of running. This pony form was perfect, with graceful, long strides that any professional racer would strive to execute. The second thing she noticed was who this pony was.
Big Macintosh?
Fluttershy looked up.
Big Macintosh, please stop, it's dangerous.
Big Macintosh came to a halt, skidding the leaves in a loom. Fluttershy? Twilight? What are y'all doing here?
The real question is, what are you doing here? I thought you said you didn't like to run. Did you lie to me? And why are you wearing that number?
Twilight Sparkle asked. He wrote on a piece of paper a number over his cutie marks, but the paper was old and yellowed. Big Macintosh pawed the ground, looking for all the words like a colt with his hoof caught in the cookie jar. I don't want to run.
But you are a great runner, Twilight Sparkle said. You're running? You want to run? Fluttershy said.
It's not something I can talk about, he said quietly.
But you can talk about it.
Fluttershy said.
It's bothering you not to talk about it.
Yep, he said. He looked nervously at Twilight Sparkle.
I want you to come by my cottage this evening, and we can talk.
Fluttershy said.
I won't tell any pony. Pinky promise?
Even Applejack? That evening, Big Macintosh sat at Fluttershy's kitchen table as they shared dinner. Off the table side, the old racing number rested. Big Macintosh glanced at them as he ate. Whenever you're ready to talk, I'm ready to listen, Fluttershy said. Those were from the first time I signed up for the racing of the leaves, Big Macintosh finally said. Ma and Pa said I could run once I had turned 10. I always liked running. I even thought it might be my special talent, but I was sure that doing the running of the leaves was just to get my cutie marks. So the first day I had signed up, I thought there at town hall, the moment I signed up right away. Got number 1. I was so excited. But you didn't run, Fluttershy started. That was the year that Ma and Pa passed. And Applejack wanted to go off and live in the big city with Aunt and Uncle Orange. It was that time, looking at Granny Smith and Baby Apple Bloom, that I knew I had to be at the heart of Sweet Apple Acres, and that was when I got this, Big Macintosh said, motioning his cutie mark. But you're wondering what might have been taken to the race, all of those big city marathons, to run in Ponyville and the Equestria Games. Yep. But there's no way I know that might have been. Yep, but there's no way I knew that might have been. Au contraire, said a voice from a figure who had been present a moment ago. Discord, Fluttershy shouted. What? I can't be moving. What? I can't be moved by this big, softy, sad tail, Discord said, wiping away an olive leak large flick tear. This is just getting weird now. It's not your business, Fluttershy started bluntly. That evening, Big Macintosh sat at Fluttershy's kitchen table as they shared dinner. Off the table side, the old racing number rested. Big Macintosh glanced at them as he ate.
Whenever you're ready to talk, I'm ready to listen,
Fluttershy said. Those were from the first time I signed up for the racing of the leaves, Big Macintosh finally said. Ma and Pa said I could run once I had turned 10. I always liked running. I even thought it might be my special talent, but I was sure that doing the running of the leaves was just to get my cutie marks. So the first day I had signed up, signed up right away. Got number 1. I was so excited.
But you didn't run,
Fluttershy started. That was the year that Ma and Pa passed. And Applejack wanted to go off and live in the big city with Aunt and Uncle Orange. It was that time, looking at Granny Smith and Baby Apple Bloom, that I knew I had to be at the heart of Sweet Apple Acres, and that was when I got this, Big Macintosh said, motioning his cutie mark.
But you're wondering what might have been taken to the race, all of those big city marathons, to run in Ponyville and the Equestria Games.
Yep. But there's no way I knew that might have been. Au contraire, said a voice from a figure who had been present a moment ago.
Discord!
Fluttershy shouted. What? I can't be moved by this big softy sad tail, Discord said, wiping away an olive large flake tear. This is just getting weird now. It's not your business, Fluttershy started bluntly.
As it happens, au contraire, Discord said, as a cosmic being, I have my claws in many different words, and I just happen to know if some pony, or rather someone, who is looking for the great adequate racer. You see, there's a title given to a certain kind of champion runner that hasn't been given out for decades. And this gentle being desires more than anything to be trained as some kind of champion. The only problem, you see, is finding the right adequate, some pony with heart, with will, and with what Sparklebot says is the perfect runner's form. So what say you? No can do. I still can't leave Sweet Apple Acres, Big Macintosh said. Ah, but there's the thing. You won't need to leave at all. I will simply give you the opportunity to experience what might have been while you sleep. On the other side of the coin, you will be Big Macintosh. Loyal, hardworking, farm pony. And on the other, you will be Big Macintosh, champion runner. Surely you can see the argument will be to both of our satisfactions. You tried to rule Equestria, then you sold us out to that monster T-Rex. Water under the bridge, Discord said, to the sound of a rushing river. Why don't I give you a sample? He conjured up a cup of tea
and placed it in front of Big Macintosh. Here's a cup of Fluttershy's famous Chamomile tea, with a little something extra. Have a sip, and you'll get a taste of your dreams. What say you? I don't know, he replied. I never knew Sir McBucken could be so cowardly, Discord taunted. Give me that, Big Macintosh said, grabbing the cup of tea. He lifted it to his lips and took a sip.
The first thing Big Macintosh noticed was the smell. The odor of dirt, dung, and unwashed ponies assaulted his nostrils. Then he experienced vertigo as his brain registered that he was seeing more than he should. He looked ahead, at the same time looked behind. Such things did not happen. There was a strange feeling in his sinuses. I have no idea what that word is. Like there was something wrong with his muzzle. Focusing the vision from his wrong eyes, he saw his muzzle portraying much further than it should. Once he focused on what he was seeing, rather than on how wrong it all felt, he could see several other ponies. Except they weren't ponies. The colors were all wrong, mostly being various shades of brown. They had muzzles that were far too long, and eyes that were on the side of their head, rather than their proper place in front. He felt a twinge in the pit of his stomach as he recognized that he was likely one of them, these mutant ponies as well. He felt a trough of water. It smelled stale and had probably been used by these mutant ponies as a source of drinking water. None were using it right now, so Big Macintosh could see his reflection in the surface of the still water. as he feared he looked like one of the other ponies. He had the same dull mane, same brown color, with only a faint star mark on his face, distinguishing himself. Then he noticed the other beings around, bipedal creatures. While he had never met them himself, he knew from schooling about all the races that lived in his world, including various stages of creatures that somehow walk with only 2 legs. But these creatures looked nothing like the ones on his schoolbook. They lacked the horns of a minotaur, the coats of an alabastern cat, or yikes. What? In fact, they appeared to have no coats at all, just bare skin, with a similar narrow ridge of colors like those seen on his fellow equines. One of these creatures, a smaller one by his estimation, approaching him. Big Macintosh became aware of the saddle and harness he was wearing as the creature put one of his legs into a loop attached to his saddle. He used it to lift himself onto his back, sitting on the saddle. He opened his mouth to protest, but all that came out was an annoying whinny. Then he felt the creature pull on his reins. What the fuck? Then he felt the creature pull on his restraints, the harness directing him onto the dirt track ahead. He felt the legs of the creature on his back press on his sides, and he resisted the urge to move forward. More pressure from the creature, and he started to run faster. The track, Big Macintosh discovered, was just like the racing track back in Equestria. Groomed dirt, perfect for hungry hooves to grip, and no pony was hungrier than him. He raced. Big Macintosh raced, hooves pounding, clamping the ground as he moved his straight body as fast as possible. He reached the movement of the creatures on his back, a prod to the flanks indicating an increase in speed, a tug on his restraints signaled a shift in the lanes, a pull back telling him to slow down. He ran faster than he had ever ran before. He felt unwittingly like he did when he was a colt, when he first put on his father's yoke. But he could still put 4 legs in motion, and when he ran with these other etiquettes, each with one of these strained bipeds on its back, he recalled past dreams of racing, then were competitors, and he was going to finish the running of the leaves faster than all of them. And so he raced. He raced all day until the sun fell below the horizon. Then Big Macintosh head into the stable, filled with more of these equines. I don't know what this word is. He tried to speak, but he could not form words. It would have been a futile gesture as these creatures reached with a blank gaze. The look of unintelligent swine living at speed apple acres. He heard a sound, one he knew, the sound of feeding being poured into the trough, where pigs would rush to feed. Now he joined the herd now rushing to feed. He felt a sharp pain in his rear. One of the other etiquettes, his competition, had bitten his tail. He turned to face his challenger, snorting in indignation. "You dope," Big Macintosh said. "What's wrong? Isn't it what you always wanted?" Discord said. "I ain't no pony's mount," he replied. "Our dear Princess Sparklebutt is happy to serve as a loyal steed for her number of assistants. Surely you could do the same," Discord said. I won't be some unthinking beast of your assuming, he replied. Oh, don't be like that. I did specifically etiquette, not pony, Discord said. And now, you get to see that there are many kinds of etiquettes. Not helping. Fine by me, Discord said. I guess that etiquette that nipped at your tail just became the greatest runner that the world will ever know. Big Macintosh leveled his eyes at Discord. Send me back, he replied. End of chapter 1.